Boom. Hey, what's happening, everybody? This is Mike Agugliaro and
Jennifer Agugliaro.
and Jen. Both of us are with you tonight. We are so excited to see all of you.
Hey, Aaron,
Here.
am I all good? Can you hear me good from here?
I can hear you, but I can only see like your shoulder.
No, I have my own screen up.
Oh, you do? Oh, I don't see
We're
you there.
sharing,
Okay.
yeah.
I can hear you great though.
So
Perfect.
every now and then, everybody, you're going to see her there and you're going to see me here. But if I go here and she's not here, that means we're having a little argument or something. Is it okay if we just get like real tonight? Type in real in the chat bar. Or do you want us just to like sugarcoat some stuff, make it sound like a fantasy land, like everything's always amazing and brilliant? I'll also see some of you are not on camera. It would be so nice if you could turn on your camera so we could see you, you could see us, unless you're in a inappropriate situation, then just flip the camera on and off real quick. We'll leave it to our imagination. Also, there's an area there. If you're not used to Zoom at all, if you hover over your picture, there's 3 dots. And so if you hit the 3 dots and hit rename, if you're there with a partner, or a husband or wife, or just someone else, can you put both names in that and rename yourself? This way I'm not like, hey, so-and-so. I could interact you guys. I think Matt and Deb, they are pros at it. If you want to look at them, they have it dialed in. Also, who else we got in here? Jason Kirby, nice to see you. The rest of you, let's get those cameras on. We're going to make this interactive. If you start to cry for some reason because you're just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe these 2 guys are talking about it, it's okay. Then you could just shut off your screen. All right, if you guys are ready and you have a notepad all together, can you type in already in the chat bar? Can you type in already? And then my team on here, hey, Jennifer Kirby, nice to see you. Madison, what's going on? Wendy, nice to see you. My team will hit you up with some of you and probably private message you and help you dial in your names if you're not used to that thing. They'll get you all dialed in. Let's get started here. Boom. All right. If you could see my screen, everybody, why don't you give me a big thumbs up in the camera that you can see the screen? Yeah. All right, cool. Those of you that didn't give me thumbs up, I will assume that you have no thumbs today. This is the 5 keys to spark romance in your relationship, which really is about connecting. And some of you, if you're here, let's talk about why this is a great fit for everyone. And it doesn't matter if you're in a current relationship, you're trying to figure out a new relationship, you're through broken relationships. There's no judgments here at all. We're all trying to navigate this new relationship world, right? And so if you're in a relationship and they're with you on the screen right now, that's kind of awesome. We want you to communicate through the process and be like, hey, how do you feel? How do I feel? If you're in a relationship, but they aren't attending, well, that might be like, hey, what's going on here, right? Like, are you invested? Maybe they're not invested. We'll do our best to connect some dots. Maybe you're in a relationship, but you don't use the word spouse or partner. Whatever you use is fine. Or maybe you're not in a relationship. This information would be amazing if all of us probably had it decades ago. And you're going to get out of a lot of this training that you can apply. I will share at the bottom, there's a little disclaimer. We are not marriage counselors. We are not therapists. This is not a business training. This is a bunch of experience shares from a couple that's been together a pretty long time, since we're 15. And we're going to navigate all kinds of stuff that we believe has changed the game for us and helped us out. All right, let's keep going here. This is just another reminder, the disclaimer, won't be no business. We're not a therapist. If everybody understands that, can you hit boom in the chat bar? Hit boom in the chat bar. And that's a good way. Let's make sure that this is not my wife and I talking at you. but we're talking with you. Okay. Lawrence says he can't hear anything. Guys, make sure you're talking to Lawrence in the chat bar. Ken, I think we could hear, maybe you got to raise your volume, Lawrence. So relationships aren't perfect, right? There's different background than your spouse or partner. How many of you can relate to your upbringing is different than theirs? Type in relate. There's awesome. Thank you for the interaction, everybody. Also, different goals than your spouse. Maybe tell me if this ever happened. Have any of you wanted to build an empire, but the other side maybe did not want to build an empire? Just type in relate. Yeah, awesome. And what about who's got a busy life? Just type in the chat bar, real busy. Do you have a busy life? Mike, yeah, busy. Cody, busy. Yeah. And what about the demands of children? Do you guys have children? Type in children. Any demands on children? Does that end when they get a little older? My son's on here. He'll be interacting. He's 23 now, and he's a mind and accountability coach here at Food Dog. But like, there's still different demands and interaction. What about life responsibilities? Anybody got some life responsibilities? Type in all life in the chat bar. And maybe you're trying to start and grow a business, or maybe you have an ongoing business. Who's a business owner? Type in business in all caps in the chat bar. Who's a business owner? And for some of you that have been in our world for a while, you probably noticed I don't have the lion in the back. My wife doesn't have her cool background here. We're in a hotel in North Carolina. Where are all of you from? Type in the chat bar, where are you from? And maybe we'll consider driving there next. We just left Virginia Beach. We're in North Carolina at the beach, and then we're going to South Carolina, and then boom, Michigan, California, New York, Florida. Okay, where do you guys think, if my wife and I were to get another location, where should we go? Go ahead, everybody vote. Barnell, South Carolina. Okay, where are we going? Somerville.
Somerville.
We're going to Somerville. I don't know if that's close to you or not. Ohio, Minnesota, California, Sunshine State. All right, awesome. And is it easy? And there's no judgments here, everybody. Is it easy to lose the spark? Type in spark in the chat bar. Is it easy, like, not year one? Year one's like all spicy spark, right? Year 5, or when you get kids, it's like part-time, maybe spark. Like when the kids are asleep, if you're lucky. 20 years in, it's like, I love you, hey, right? And so we'll talk about all of this stuff. Anything you want to add to relationships aren't perfect before we move on into
No,
the
you're
subject?
saying everything great.
Oh, she said I'm doing a good job, everybody. Can everybody give me a boom? Can you give me a boom? I'm doing a good job.
No, you're doing a great job.
Thank you. How did I do driving today? She's not answering that, Deb, because she's like, you see how I just sit here all comfortable when you run through red lights? I don't brace. She's like, I don't brace for impact, because when she's driving and she goes near, I'm like, got a hand up here, a foot down here. She's like, you see how comfortable I am just sitting here when you run through all these red lights? So, yep. Okay, I'm going to take it as my driving was amazing too, because we made it here. All right, here's our greatest awakening, at least one of them. In order to have a bigger anything, a bigger business, a bigger life, people talk about 10xing, right? You got to 10x, 10x, 10x. But what they don't really share with you, and why I hope you're here, is because you got to 20x yourself. Got to 20x yourself. Now, let's be transparent. And if you're next to your relationship, then tread cautiously. How many of you are waiting for an invitation of the other person to step up first? Right? Step up. Like, yeah, I'm waiting for them to step up. Like, I'm doing all good, and I'm like all in, and I like make coffee in the morning, and I'm waiting for them to step up. Like, I've been stepping up, right? And we might challenge that a little bit. Here's our life, and I just will share, when you get clarity and you get alignment, right? Well, then you could have an amazing life. And also you can create big things too, right? I created some really big things. We'll talk about that in a minute. Here's what our life was like. I think a lot of people, when they come and talk, they make life sound like it's all peaches and cream and just amazing. Well, that's not the case for us. Like, we understand chaos, we understand hecticness. This is me young, this is me and my wife young, this is us young, we're still young, and then this is me. Yeah,
We're still young.
super young. We're super young. Yep. And so I want to just point out, I understand hecticness, and what we want you to maybe consider along the way is, how can we have this hecticness not destroy a relationship? Okay. And is it okay, like, if we share some down and dirty stuff, not like sexy dirty, like just like, this is what was going on in our life, will you keep it to yourself? Will you put like something in the chat bar to let us know you'll keep it here and you'll not like throw it all over the internet and stuff? And here's some things, we learned a lot along the way. And that's what we want to share with you. And what really, well, this picture on the bottom, this is one of my favorite pictures. That's my daughter when she was young. She's 20 now. She'll be 21 really soon, like in a week and a half or so. And can any of you relate to like being on the phone, ordering something, holding a baby? Can any of you relate to that? Like that type of stuff? And we made some mistakes along the way. I know a lot of people say, hey, if you were to rewound time, would you do anything over? They're like, I would do nothing over. No, there's a bunch of stuff. There's a whole bunch of goodies we would
just do different.
We would do over. We definitely would do some things different. And but we have an amazing family. My son is on here today. Here's our family. This is do any of you couples that are here, do you ever canoe or kayak together? Type in kayak. Is that like a relationship test? Cody and Melly, is that like kayaking is a relationship test? I think. I never get the right side. I always paddle too hard. We have a lot of fun.
Well,
jet ski together
when two people like to be in control.
Oh yeah.
That's why we're on two separate computers, because someone had to have control of the keyboard.
Yeah, Mike, we would never jet ski on the same jet ski ever. Didn't you just hear me about braking and red lights and stuff? We're never jet skiing. We will have to do our own thing. But here we are now. And just so we could prove something out, this is us quite a while ago. And that's us now. And I think that was 19.
Look, I look like a child. And
you were a child. But yes, that's weird. What was this? 1986? 86 about. Yep. So yeah, we're about 16 there. That's big hair time frame, I guess. Anybody else from big hair time? Type in big hair. And yeah, I think I
had the 80s big hair. You can't really see it in the picture, but
we're leveling up good. We're leveling up good. All right. And here's some things we had to navigate, just so you know, relationships are already interesting, let alone navigating building a company. So I built this company, and I say I built it, but really we built it. My wife was not in the business, but she was supporting me along the way. And one of the things that I think is really important today, and I'll throw out things that I thought, my wife will throw out things she thinks, and then we might disagree on some things right now too. I never know what's about to go down, but I will share one thing is, one thing that was important that I believe my wife always supported with building, especially a big service company. I mean, I had 200 employees, right? And anybody have employees, type in employees. If you have employees, you're a full-time like therapist, you're a full-time dad, you're a full-time leader, right? And that did 32 million a year. And then I sold that thing in 2017 and signed my name and walked away. And one of the things I think is important about a business, if you're going to scale and build a business with a life, because if you build a business, and it's one of the reasons why this next company that I built, which was called CEO Warrior, which was it's the highest level training and implementation organization for the blue collar space for plumbers, HVAC, and electricians. The reason I sold that was because we were making people wealthy. in the last 28 months or whatever, we created, I think it's up to 40 decamillionaires that have ended up in my world at one shape or form. And what was happening is like people were, they were becoming wealthy and then divorced. And I don't think that's part of the goal. Like you should not become wealthy, divorced, wealthy, sick, wealthy, unhappy. You want to be wealthy and legacy wealth and happy and everything. So one of the things my wife always made sure of is when I got home was like, are you home or are you still at work? Can you guys, maybe that's a guy thing, and maybe it's a couples thing, but like, don't come home unless you're home. I think that's an important thing. Now, if your office is in your home, well, then that might be a little trickier. You might have to walk out of the other room and go, don't come out of the room until you're ready for here, And the other interesting thing, anything you wanted to add there on that part?
No, that's so true. People bicker and they don't realize the other person who just came home from working didn't shut off work mode yet, right? So they're coming in, acting a certain way. Their mind might still be where they were, and it's going to impact the home. They're not going to hear things. They're not going to participate.
Yeah.
So we just were clear on, hey, did you get done what you needed to get done? Are you still there? Are you here?
Yeah. And here's an other important distinction. As I'm making a distinction that resonates with you or impacts you, either give me a boom or a yes or something, is one of the things was at first in the beginning years of starting to grow, the first argument, and if you could relate, type in relate. The first argument is like, I'm doing this all for you. Anybody ever say those words out of the mouth? I see some heads nodding. And the reality is no. You're only doing it for both of you if you both agree. So here's what I did. And I'll relate it to its relationship, but I have to reflect relationships into our experience. So when I made a decision that myself and my business partner were, a lot of people never came out of your mouth, we were consider scaling the service company. And we did it wrong for like 12 years. We didn't know how to grow a service company.
We just didn't do it in a beneficial way.
Well, I didn't do it working way, that's for sure. And then I came and I said to my wife, like, hey, me and Rob, who's my business partner for a long time, said, we want to grow this thing. But like, let me share what we want to do to grow it. And it's going to be a lot. And is it like, are we in this game together? I need to know that. Because if it's a one-sided game, if you say, no, I don't want that, I'm out. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And my wife knows, like, you want to live in a cardboard box? We'll do what I'll live in a cardboard box. Want to live in a big house? I'll do what it takes to live in a big house. But don't make me work for a big house and you want to live in a cardboard box, right? Because that's where resentments come in.
Or don't want to live in a big house, but yet complain that your partner's working.
Yeah. And when I was getting ready to sell a gold medal, you don't ever sell a company. You ascend your life, just so you know, you ascend who you are. If you're still doing what you're doing the last 10, 15, 20 years, you're probably not, you're not personally growing. I'll just tell you that for sure. You could try to convince me you love it to the end of the world, but then I could ask you 5 questions and I'll go, no, you don't love it, because I always go like this. They're like, I'm going to do it forever. I'm like, I got 10 million for you to stop. They're like, I'm done. I'm like, then you don't love it with your heart and soul. You ascend out of things, right? I ascended out of the service company. And when it came time and I was like, look, I still own gold medal. And I said to my wife, I said, I am tired of getting around other tradespeople and I'm winning and feeling like I have to hide my success because they're dying. So same conversation came again. And if I'm connecting some dots, can you type in dots in the chat bar? I said to her, I want to build a training and implementation organization. I want to change. I'm going to curse a little bit. If cursing affects you, pray for me tonight. Otherwise, change the word, or you probably should leave now, because when I get excited, curse words come out. So I was fucking just annoyed with people suffering in the service industry. I came back to my wife and I said, hey, this was 2014. I want to change a whole industry. Now I own a big, at then $28 million service company, and I now want to change the whole service industry. And I said, but I'm only going to do it if you're all in. And she says, I'm all in. And I said, perfect. We started changing people's lives. I sold gold medal. We started to impact the world here. And, here's another thing. In a relationship, make sure you know what your partner is built of. Like my wife knows, like I used to say, I'm not warmed up yet. We're not even warmed up yet for life. You agree?
Oh, 100%.
Like we're not even close to warmed up. You know what I mean? That's why when I sold CEO Warrior, we decided, and why I'm so excited you're here. And let me tell this story let me see what's next. Okay, let me tell this story before we move on. When we decided to build this food dog, it was myself, my wife, and Aaron. We knew that there was something that had to change in the world. And here's what needed to change. I kept going to business trainings, marketing, sales, operations, systems. And how many of you have been to business trainings? Type in business trainings. I've been to a lot of them. Tons. There's probably not many you've ever been to that I haven't been to. But I was going alone to almost all of them because my wife wasn't in the business. So you tell me in the chat bar, when you go to trainings and your wife or relationship does not go to trainings, tell me what's going to happen to your relationship over time. Type it in the chat bar. What's going to happen? Yep. Right. There's going to become a gap. But why, if a husband or wife's not in the business you're in, why are they going to go sit 2, 3, 5 days in a room and learn about marketing? What we wanted to do was build an environment like this where a husband and wife can come, they can grow, they can expand and invest in their personal growth, which really what you're doing is you're investing in everything. When you invest in your personal growth, you're setting an example for your children, your grandchildren, and legacies ahead. So, okay, let's keep going here. This is just a little poll for you guys. I'm just curious about some things. One, yes, we've been in a relationship over 3 decades. Any martial artist here? Type in martial arts. I already know. I've been building business 3 years, helping people. My wife and I both have been helping people through mind blocks for over 3 decades. And I'm just curious, how many of my books have you read? This is just a random poll here. Roughly, how many have you read? I've written 19 now. 3, 2, 1. Okay. How many read Mind Power? Type in, oh, look, Don Charles is on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How many? Okay, 12. Mind Power, type in Mind Power if you read it. All right, good. I'm glad you guys read Mind Power. That's the most important one. And here, look, Kevin Harrington, he pretty much said we cracked a code. And Jay Abraham said, we're transforming individual enrichment from the inside out. The other thing I want to know from you guys is how long have you been in my world, my wife's world? Are you new? If you're new, type in new. If you're new. If you've been in my world 3 months, 5 months, 8 months, years, type it in. New? Welcome everybody that's new. 7 months, almost a year, 8 months. New. Hey, Jerry, thanks for coming on. Guys, welcome to the family here. Hubert, nice to meet you. 2009, met you too. Yes, man, that's boom, going quick. About a year ago. All right, awesome. Well, I'm glad to have a whole bunch of friends back. Glad to have a whole bunch of new friends in our world. I like to make sure we exceed your expectations right up front. Here's some resources for you guys, totally free. Not expecting anything from anybody, so we'll throw it in the chat bar. You'll see it. If you're not in our free group, click and go in. We share resources, information. And if you didn't read the Mind Power book yet, you could get a free copy right there. So just want to make sure. And we also do have a training coming up called Change the Channel. If you're already coming to change the channel, type in Let's Do It. It's like 4 weeks away. It's in New Jersey. It's going to be amazing. I'll talk a little bit. If you're not coming yet and you're just finding out, like, what the heck's this thing? Put a question mark so I know. Oh, look at all you. Hey, Sherry, Justin, let's do it. Maddie, let's do it. Matt and Deb, let's do it. Morgan, let's do it. Cody, oh yeah, Melanie, let's do it. All right, we got a lot of let's do it. The rest of you that have question marks, we'll answer that before we go. I'm not here to pitch anything. If it's a fit, cool. If it's not, no big deal. No big deal. My wife and I are at a stage in our life, and I want to get you there. Ready for the stage? Here's what I used to say. I used to say that freedom is doing what you want, where you want, with who you want, without any restraints of time and money. That's pretty good. You think it's good? Type in good. It's pretty good. Now I simplified it. Ready, Don? I simplified it. It's to live a vacation style life where you never have to vacation. Boom, done. There you go. That's where I want to get all you guys to. Life by design, where every day feels like a vacation, and you're not upset it's Monday and hump Wednesday and thank God it's Friday. It doesn't matter if it's Monday through Sunday. You love your life and everything you're doing so much. All right, let's get started. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, we got to do a quick assessment, everybody. Here's the first assessment. Now, if you're with your couple next to you, there's no comparison. You just got to share after. I want you to rank.
And there's no right or wrong.
No right or wrong, unless you're a guy and then it's all right. No, I'm just kidding. I want your ranking, 10 being your relationship is like just amazing, over the top, incredible. You're running around like you're 18, slapping each other's ass or something. And 1, it's, we got divorce papers ready. We're like done. All right. And I want you to rank, and I want your partner to rank. There's no discussions, just rank it. And then you guys can compare and see where you're at. Okay. Feel free to type in the chat bar.
And we've been every single one of those numbers.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, where are we when we're driving? We're still
Well,
about,
it depends who's driving.
oh, when you're driving, where are we?
I know where I am. I don't know where the hell you are.
I'm about an 8 when you're driving. I'm about an 8. That's not terrible. Where are you when I'm driving?
I told you I don't act
Right.
reactive.
Because I'm a 10 driver. So that's all good. Where are you guys at? 8, 9, 8, 8. Okay. Now, all of you, oh, Jerry's a 2. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Some days a 6. I'm glad you guys are here. Does everybody, 3, my partner isn't here with me. Okay. Well, here's the good thing. How many of you will want the replay of this that are on here? Type in replay. Type in replay. If you want the replay, I'll get it to you guys. Now, here's the interesting thing. If you don't have an honest ranking, okay, if you don't have an honest ranking, I might think we're a 10, and my wife might think we're a 5. And then that's called delusion. Now, here's the truth. So now give me what's the average of your relationship between your ranking and their, and if they're not here, take a guess at what it is. What's the average? An 8, okay? 8, 8. All right. Now, if you're an 8 or a 2, do we all agree there's another level? Type in another level. Type in another level. Right? You know there's another level or you wouldn't be here. And the fact that you're here, I know that you care. I'm going to share an interesting fact. Now, look, like I said, I've been helping people for over 3 decades in their mind, relationships, and all kinds of stuff. And I always find out one common thread. When one person wants to invest to improve, and the other person, I will tell you, like, especially little less than the last decade, I was working with majority men, probably 80% men. And they would say, oh, my wife's not into that personal improvement thing. And I'd say, okay, well, how long before you guys get divorced? Because you're going to separate. I'm just promise you. One of you are going to have a midlife crisis. You know what a midlife crisis is? It normally happens. I think it happens with guys. Aaron, write down. I want to get a stat between male and female midlife crisis. That'll be interesting. Age and stat. Since I dealt with majority men who had midlife crisis and ended up with a Corvette, a leather jacket, and a 23-year-old, I always found out the same trend. What happened? And I would pry and dig and peel, and you know what they'd say? I finally stopped lying. I said, well, you know, if you just shared how you felt, you wouldn't have had to get a leather jacket, a Corvette, and maybe some of you are upset now if that's you, and a 23-year-old. You wouldn't have had to done that. So we have to be able to get to the point. And here comes another sharing thing. And I'm wondering what you have to say about this too. Here's a sharing thing. How many of you sometimes are either afraid to share, be transparent, and if you're with each other, you could fight tonight if you want. You're afraid to share, or you jade what you're sharing. You know what jading is like? It's like, hey,
Or you censor it.
oh yeah, I was gonna run to a job, and then you go shoot golf balls or something. That's like,
Oh, that's not censoring.
that's different.
That's different.
Well,
That's
what's
lying.
censoring?
That's lying.
Oh, that's a lie.
It's a
Okay, well,
lie.
maybe that's just a lie. Like, hey, I'm gonna go to a job, and you go in the field hunting or fishing.
No, that's a
or something.
lie.
Okay, all right. So there's lying, and then there's I'm afraid. Now, some of you are looking at each other like, you afraid to talk to me? It's like, oh, not me, babe. I tell you everything. Oh, bullshit. No, you don't. There's a lot of things you tiptoe around because you're worried about the reaction, right? You're worried about the reaction of things that could be coming. Now, here's what we want to do, and we're going to dig into this, but let's just take a guess. Our first guess. What will move your relationship backwards? What will make your relationship worse if you were to just take a guess today? Would it be lying? Is it not communicating? Is it not making time? What kind of things would move a relationship back that you think would move it backwards? Make
Well, the lying for sure.
Mhm.
Not having clarity with each other.
Yeah.
That's huge. There's so many things. When you're not in alignment, you don't have clarity.
Resentment.
Resentment, not understanding, misunderstanding.
Yeah. Somebody said, if I stop trying, yeah, quitting,
Oh, yeah.
not communicating.
Pulling
Hey,
away.
how about this? What's wrong, babe?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Oh, really? Nothing's wrong? There's always something to look. It's like nothing, right? Can anybody relate to that? Does anybody get asked that? You're like, nothing's wrong. And then like after you get pride, you're like, yeah, there's shit wrong. Okay, we got clarity. My Apple Pen is low. That's awesomeness. Okay.
Do you have the cord?
Yeah, we're gonna pray that it stays for a while. That's what we're gonna do, because if I unplug this,
Do I
then,
need to plug mine in? Or it doesn't work on your?
no,
Okay.
we're just gonna navigate it. Okay,
Right.
now what will move your relationship forward? If you were to do one thing, just guess. Let's just take a guess. I'm gonna give you strategies. We're gonna work through
Yeah.
this. What would move it forward? Alignment. Yep. What else would move it forward? Just guess. Like, hey, if I was more open, aligned, lots of sex. Okay, Jason, that's a fair statement. Good communication. I knew sex would come out eventually. Continued
You have to
open
be clear
conversation.
on what a lot of sex looks
Oh.
like to you,
That's right.
because it could mean different for the other person.
Right. He could have sex with himself. Boom. That's a lot of
No,
sex.
but a
Yeah.
lot to him and a lot to the
Deb, do not
partner.
support anything I say that's crazy. Please do not support that. Okay. I apologize for anything crazy that's going to come out of my mouth. All right. Well, let's dig into this a little bit. Key one is clarity with communication. Everybody give me a boom if communication starts, right? And there's many things that compete for our time, right? Attention and effort. You can't do it all of it, and nor should you, but instead have frequent open communication to get clarity. Now, give me a yes or a no. You're very clear with your partner on your personal goals. Yes or no? Like real clear. Like, I want to be like this, become like this, act like this, fish like this, hunt like this. Okay, we got some yes, we got some no. Okay. How about your partner's goals? You're really clear what they want, where they want to live, and what they want to eat, and where they want to go, and how they want. Okay, we got a lot of yeses there.
Nice.
Are you clear with your children's goals? Interesting. Like, are you just like go to college? Are you coaching them? Like, yes, mostly I know a little, and maybe I need to know more. Like, what are their goals for the future? What about the family's goals as a whole? Yes or no? Like, hey, as a family unit, what do we want to do? Who do we want to be? Now, what does society say we should do? What do you think? Like, how many of you are just, you're sucked into what society says you should do? Well, you should,
And society could be your family,
oh yeah,
your friends,
neighbors,
people,
employees.
yeah, anybody you're around.
Yeah, like, oh, let me tell you what this should be like and how you should feel. Now, we do know that open communication will help out. And that's the two of us moving forward with clarity.
Well, I think the first word there is super important. Frequent.
Frequent.
Some
Yeah.
people think because they had clarity, they checked in, they're good for 6 months. We're
Mm,
checking in every other week and things change
yeah,
because life's constantly changing. People are changing, things with the kids are changing, businesses are changing, everything's changing.
yeah, yeah.
Constantly checking back in with each other.
Yeah. Can I just add something on frequent and open communication? You need to communicate the quirky things, the quirks. Okay. You know what the quirks are? Like, I have quirks. My wife has quirks. I don't agree with her quirks. She doesn't agree with my quirks, but there's a whole bunch of things we navigate. Like, we left Saturday to go somewhere.
Yeah.
We had no idea where we were going. We just knew we have to end up in South Carolina
By a certain day.
by Thursday. So we packed up and we started to just drive, not knowing what hotel, what location. Now, who would this just freak out? Type in freak out if that would freak you out at all. Like, we have no idea where we're going. We don't even have the hotel. We have a dog with us. She's 12. We got to bring her with us, right? And it's like, oh, Jennifer's like, hell no. Oh, I know that, Jennifer, right? And then we're like, hey, what about this place? And then my wife wants to, she has a process. She wants to check the room, make sure there's no like bugs and stuff in it.
I have a whole process.
Yeah, she has a whole process of
Nothing
checking.
moves in here till I check certain things.
Does anybody else have a hotel room process? And then does anybody have no process? Like, you go out of town, you'll just sleep right on that bed. Like, one time I stayed in Detroit, like there was blood stains in the hallway. I propped the door under the handle. I just went to bed. There could have been a rat in the bed. I'm like, I just going to bed, right? Yeah, no problem, James. Right? But she has a process. Now, do I have to agree with this process? No. I support the process. What do you want me to do? What do you want to check? And now I learned when we go to a hotel room about communication. Check everything. Did any of you ever unpack everything in a hotel room to just figure out that room's not a fit? Okay, if you're smiling, then that's been you.
We've ended up at a house that wasn't a fit.
Yeah. So I just say, let's make sure everything's a fit. When you give me the thumbs up fit, then we get in the room. So give me something in the chat bar, like, what do you need to improve clarity? Tell me in the chat bar. And we'll see if tonight, I still got a lot to cover and some bonus items and stuff. So we might have a little time for some open Q&A, which will be fun. All right. So type in what you can do for clarity. Speaking our truths of what we want. Yes. Yep. All right. While you guys are typing, let's go to number 2. Unspoken fears. Unspoken fears. Now, here's what doesn't get talked about, right? And then what gets talked about normally is little. And so I'm a guy that talks about the most craziest stuff. I'm wondering if there's anybody else. Like, I talk about aliens, UFOs, Bigfoots. Like, if there's something wild to talk about, I'm your friend. I will just tell you, I'm your best friend. Now, if you want to talk about nothing else exists in the world and like we live in this little bubble and stuff, I'm not your friend because we're going to get bored. I'm going to get bored really quick, probably. I'm just being transparent, right? So I always ask my wife, hey, does this carry any fears for you? Right? Like, I'm going to talk about this. And this is like, just to be extreme in what I'm sharing. Like, if I'm going to talk about like aliens attacking and eating brains, like my wife's like, I don't want to know about aliens eating brains. I'm like, perfect. I got other friends I'll talk about the brain eating aliens with, right? But I think a lot of people either don't speak about their fears of, and I had fears. I wonder if anybody else has a fear. What's the fear? Scarcity. Type in, anybody ever have a fear of scarcity? You're going to run out of money, and you won't be able to make it back. And like, and when you become really successful, like where you have millions and millions and millions of dollars, if you don't know how to control that, man, you could have scarcity. And scarcity is a fear chokehold, right? And when you have scarcity, it can affect a relationship, especially if you don't share what you're scared of. Okay. Can I talk about the water? Can I talk about the water?
Talk about the water.
Okay.
I can't believe you're saying you have a fear of scarcity, yet you used to get on me about
Well,
like when I'm like, hey, we need food, we need this. Let's be prepared. Let's not be paranoid.
My son and I agree that you don't need a lot of food. You just need a gun to get food. We have some different beliefs here. That's one of our
All
beliefs.
right,
Like,
but talk about the water.
okay, let's talk about the water.
Okay.
So we're leaving, and I just want to know who this would freak out with.
Someone on here actually told me to make sure
Okay.
we had water.
Okay, probably. So we're going to leave and we're going to drive. And my wife says we should get water. And I'm like, they're going to have water where we're at. And she's like, there could be a water problem. Now, is anybody else like this? Type in water in the chat bar. Like, could be a water problem.
But why
Ohio.
there's a water problem?
Right.
Because people are afraid of the water.
Right.
And therefore, I'm sure
Yeah.
their local stores might be low on it
Yeah.
because what do people do?
Could be low on
They
water.
panic and they go out and buy all the bread, milk and shit and water.
Right.
And we weren't sure where we were
Yeah.
headed. So it's better to be prepared.
Yeah, I got it. So what happens is, Dawn, she says we should get water because there could be water, not water there. Now, my mind is like with my, like I could build a still and like I'll burn a
Your son
fire.
told me to make sure we had water.
Okay. Well, Michael he wanted you to be safe. So Michael, we got water. So we went in. I'm like, well, how much water? And she's like, a bunch of it. So I came out with a bunch of water, which now I've been stepping on in this RV. But the fact is, she wanted water, and our two different fears, right? Her fear was of water and like, hey, we'll get there and we won't have water. I didn't really had a fear. What was mine?
Mine wasn't fear. Mine was being prepared.
Oh,
You turn everything into like that. If there has,
it's not fear.
it could have been a fear that we had no water.
Oh, okay. Was there
It
a
could
fear?
have turned into a fear. Yes.
It could have been a fear.
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to be prepared. So I wasn't fearful driving here going, oh my God, where are we going? We don't know where we're going. Are they going to have fucking water?
You could drink your pee like 5 times.
No, but you can't drink this chemical shit that's out there.
That's why you have to
problem.
drink your own
Michael
pee.
even said this straw shit you're
Yeah.
talking about don't work.
You can drink your own pee, I think, 5 times before you get sick. So I'm
not
figuring
interested in that though. You could drink all my pee all you want all day long. I'm not drinking.
if I was
it.
dehydrated, I would drink your pee.
Okay.
I would. I'm just saying, if I was dehydrating, we would do it. All right. I've warned all of you. I
Yes,
warned all of
that's
you.
great.
What?
Liz or Lisa wrote.
What'd she say?
That you honored my.
I did. I went in that sketchy store. What was that place?
You went in the grocery store and.
It was sketchy looking grocery store, but we got water. If any of you need water, I got you covered. I got you covered. All right. Unspoken fears. Type in the chat bar. How many of you have some fears you're not sharing in a relationship, or you destroyed a relationship by not speaking fears? Type in fears in the chat bar so I know. Is there unspoken fears?
Well,
you
there were
know?
times in the beginning, if I had fears, like an embarrassment about them or not sure of them and could have
Yeah.
held them back. And then you get this tenseness inside and because you're not talking about it rather than just being safe with your partner and feeling you can talk about even the silliest or craziest things that you think might be fearful, like bed bugs. And your partner's like, whatever you need to do to make sure there's no bed bugs in the room, go to town.
Yeah. What's the best way to address your fears to your partner? Well, I think it goes back to communication, right? Who's that? Liz? It goes back to communication. Like, hey, I have some things that concern me. Can we create a safe space? And can I share my concerns without like judgments on it? Would you hear it for a concern? I'm not asking you to solve it right now. I just want you to understand it. Like my wife, one time she was saying, hey, what if there was a food problem? I'm like, I'll just sever off my left arm
He did say that.
and I will just cook parts of my arm and feed you. right? And then eventually I could just like take parts off my body and I'll feed you, right? And the whole thing was,
These are
yeah,
real conversations.
these were real conversations, was to let her know, like, I'll do whatever it takes. If they're not receptive to it, right? Like, hey, they're not receptive to my fears. Well, then just understand, why are they not? People are not receptive to things. They don't know how to process it.
Or they don't know how to help it too, especially
Right.
if you're a woman telling a guy, and because a guy wants to help, provide, protect.
Good one.
What if he doesn't know, he doesn't have a solution? I'm sure
Yeah.
then that could bring up frustrations.
Yeah.
So he'd need to feel safe to be honest, to say, hey, I don't know
Yeah.
what to do with this.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Let's talk about, and remember when I say guy woman thing, it doesn't mean
Yeah,
it
it
could be,
doesn't
it could be
matter.
reversed. So don't throw up any white flags against me or something. Most guys want to solve, okay, and fix things because they're hunters and they're fixers. They feel like they got to fix it, right? And then most women are
And
gatherers.
that's most, not all.
Not all, but most are gatherers of information. So I'm going to give you a real simple thing. It only took us two decades maybe to figure it out, maybe a little less. When somebody is sharing something, so when my wife's sharing with me, I just say, are you sharing for me to like listen, or is there something for me to solve? Simple.
True.
But it will solve a lot of things, because she might be sharing something with me that I don't want to solve, that we don't need to solve. Okay. Now, if she says, I need you to solve it, I'm going to solve it. Because if she gives me, just so you guys know, most men are hunters, most women are gatherers. If you give most men, you give me 5 things to do. I need you to take the garbage out. Can you bring the basket from the first floor? Can you get the thing out of the car? Okay, I heard get thing out of car. The rest is gone. You gave me too many things to go hunt. I'd have to write all that shit down on the list. Give me one thing. Let me go hunt. Let me come back. All right, let's keep going here. All right, are you guys getting value? Type in value in the chat bar. You know what I'm going to do? You could either find this for me, or you could talk a minute.
I have one in my bag.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Time together, time apart. All right. This is really important, guys. I think what happens is, and gals, I think in a relationship, now, if you have one that will plug in here, I won't have to disconnect. Oh, that will go on that one too.
What?
You could get the phone cord, get the phone cord.
Okay.
So I think when you're in a relationship, you feel like you're caged in time. Like somewhere it says, to death do us part, and to death we must spend every minute together, right? That's not the thing. Have an understanding of time. All right, Aaron, how long was I talking to myself for?
A few seconds, maybe a minute or two.
All right, that's good. Let's go back to here. Thanks for your patience, everybody. The clearly being on the beach is not enough for the internet. Okay, thumbs up if my screen's back up.
It is.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you, Brian. So the conversation about time in 5 love languages, one of the things are like, I'm curious, the rest of you who could be this, I am words of affirmation. Okay. And acts of, words of affirmation. And what's the second one?
Physical touch.
Oh, physical touch.
How could you forget that?
Okay,
one?
physical touch. I was just seeing if you knew, which
Yes,
is
I
pretty
know.
simple, Brian, because if she tells me I'm amazing and touches me, life is grand. Now hers is quality time and acts of service, which means she's really happy if I'm doing stuff and spending time with her.
Or having other people do. I just need shit done.
Well, that's easier.
We don't care who does
That's
it.
easier. Yeah, that's easier. So we have to understand time together. Hey, and sometimes my wife and I say, like, we just like, we need time apart. Like, I'm going to go spend time there. You go spend time here, whatever we got to do. Write this down. Quality time apart is as beneficial as quality time together if you communicate it. The other thing is, what does time together look like? Now
For each of you, because it could be different for each of you.
And just so you guys know, like, we've been doing calls with couples, like husbands and wives, for years and years now. and we see the same patterns, same cycles, same habits about time and all this stuff we're sharing. When we went through the agenda, we were looking at what did we solve and what's going on with a lot of people. And my wife, when we go, like, first off, I don't like sitting on the beach in the baking sun. And I like that the beach is there. I like to sit there, but I don't just like to stare at the ocean. My wife is okay if I go there and I'm on my cell phone. I'm like, hey, are you cool? I'm going to go on my cell phone and do some stuff. I'm going to think.
Or
I'm
your
gonna mess with-
laptop. You brought your laptop too.
I have brought. Did I bring my laptop to the beach?
Yeah,
A couple times.
pictures of you under
Yeah,
the tower.
Yeah. Now, a lot of other relationships are like,
That quality time would mean something different.
Yeah.
I don't care what he's doing. He's with me. I'm enjoying the beach. So it works for us, but that might not work for someone else. That's why it's important to get clear on what it actually looks like. Because in the beginning, you thought it meant like you had to be very attentive to me on the
Yeah.
beach. And no, I'll go in the water by myself and I'll do my own thing. It's just being in that environment.
yeah, yeah. So how many of you need to get time, have a conversation about time? Type in time in the chat bar. Like, you got to get clear, like, how much is quality time? How much do you want? Would you tell me when you don't want to spend time together? Would you tell me when you do? Like,
Oh, I'll say to you, do you need to be left alone for a while?
yeah, I'd like to be left
Or I'll
alone
go,
for a while.
did you get a lot done while I didn't bother you for quite a long
Yes.
time?
Yeah, we communicate about it, right? But I'm also okay when she says, hey, can we go for a walk? And most of the time it's a yes, but sometimes if I have a call or a web, I have to say, no, I'm backed up against this, but like, we could go after it. But if I'm in the middle of something, write this: flexibility. Can you write down flexibility? Flexibility, right? Because Mike and Jen, you might have to share Wi-Fi. Why? Is it chopping in and out? No? Okay. All right. So the thing is, you want to make sure you have flexibility of time. It's not always going to fit your perfect realm. You want it to fit both of your realms. All right, let's keep going. I got a lot more to go. Okay, so growing together. This is really important. We started to talk about this in the beginning. So here's one scenario. One of you are growing and one of you are not. You're just like, I don't do that thing. I don't learn. It's 8 o'clock at night. I'm watching my Netflix series. I'm not going to be bothered, right? Now, there's a great example. Both partners are growing together. There's another example. Don't wait for an invitation. You start growing. Maybe your partner's not, but they start to see your growth and they decide to start growing with you. Now, all of these are great. It's better if a couple can agree. Let me share with you what will not. I guess I can't say every example, but I'm going to say a lot. I believe this will not save a relationship. Date nights don't save relationships. I don't believe in date nights. When I dated, I wasn't committed to my relationship. That's a date. A date is when you're trying to see if you want to do things long term. We go on experiences together. Now, you could call that, instead of date night, let's go for an experience night. The other thing that won't keep a relationship, going on vacations. Vacations won't save relationships. It's temporary gratification. If you agree, type in agree. I've watched it. People go on vacation, come back, and they go, I need a vacation from my vacation. No. You know what?
Or they come back to the same exact relationship in the same exact spot, or maybe
Yeah.
even a little more turmoil because of the nonsense they dealt with on the vacation.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a vacation, it was a trip.
Yeah. If your relationship is not where you want
And
it to be,
we've been there. We've
Yeah.
done them.
don't go on another vacation until you improve your relationship. Like unless that vacation is a whole process on improving your relationship, don't do it. Because I'm watching people keep going on vacations and come back, and every time they come back, it's worse. All right. So growing together is very important. Key number 5, identity. Now, our identity is the sum of our values, beliefs, and experiences in a moment of time, and our identities can shift. Our identities can shift. You and your partner each fell in love with an identity of the other person. Follow with me here. Sit up, shoulders back. I want you to really focus here. And are you encouraging those shifts towards mutual growth? Or are you trying to keep the partner's identity frozen? So here, when you first met, you had an identity. How many of you, your identity changed when you had children? Type in children. How many of you, your identity changed when you got married? How many of you, your identity changed when you started a business? How many of your identity changed when the business grew? How many of your identity changed when the business suffered? Now, this identity is everything. So the question for all of you is this: what are you doing together as a couple to make sure that your identities are aligned with the future you both desire? That's important there. That's important. And you must invest in your identity to move forward to get there. If my identity stays as a builder and creator, and my wife kept her identity as just maybe what was an identity you had a long time ago? You think?
Well, when I was just home with the kids all the time and you were going and growing, I was kind of staying where I was. I wasn't seeing that there was anything else or anything different, but I was hyper focused on that. It's not a negative. It's who I was. It's what I was. But as children grow and as their ages change, that actually starts to change itself, you within yourself.
Yeah. Well, look at identity. People panic when they become empty nesters. Oh my God, the kids are leaving. You're actually having an identity crisis. And because you can't see outside the next level of yourself, right? That's why identity is so key. If you don't have the relationship you want, there's an identity thing. If you don't have the wealth you want, if you had the identity of $100 million person, you'd have 100 million already, just so you know. You'd have 100 million. If you wanted to build a $5 million company, you need the identity of a $5 million company. If you wanted to build anything in life, you don't have the identity. If you want to be healthier in your body, you don't have the identity of a person with a healthy body. The body follows the mind. The minute you identify that. Now, identities can be reinforced together, or they could be destroyed. Have any of you ever felt pulled back and held back by someone else? Type in someone else in the chat bar, right? Because they're like, I don't believe in you that. I don't want to do that. Why do you want to go there? Why do you want to go on that training? Why are you in that? Don't you know what you need? Every time I hear someone tell someone else, well, don't you know what you need? I say, if they knew what they need, they'd already have it. They have an identity issue. They have an
That's
identity
interesting.
issue.
Cortland said held back by self. That was
Yeah.
kind of what I was dealing with. I was looking at it as putting blame on him, but it really came down to me being able to speak up for myself and saying,
Yeah.
something here is not working. And actually, when we got together and went to something and we were on the verge of a divorce, he came up to me and was like, it's me. And I was like, no, it was me. And we realized we both took ownership of both our parts in that.
Yeah. I think, let me talk on the guy side. If you're not willing to embrace the crazy, did you guys anybody watch Yellowstone? Type in Yellowstone. You watch Yellowstone, the series? It's really good. It's good. I felt a little cowboy-like after 5 series of it. But that girl in it, like, is a little crazy, right? And I think guys don't want to embrace the craziness. And I don't think women want to embrace the craziness. The main reality shift, huh?
I embraced my craziness.
Oh, I know you embrace your craziness. I had to ask her if she could just put the crazy away for a little while yesterday, a couple of days ago. But the point is, if you could admit that you're both crazy, then it's just you're embracing the next crazy thing that comes up.
And what that is that's non-judgment.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever, call it crazy, call it, I don't know what other name. I'd like crazy. It's
Yeah.
It's just out there. It's not being held in a box. It's whatever's going to come. It's being real.
Yeah. Hey, Ariella, it's interesting. I'm looking at Jen's screen and I could see everybody there, but I can't see everybody on mine. I only got the little column. Okay. So I want to share something with you guys that we have coming up. And then I have a whole bunch of bonus strategies. So if you're already coming, then bear with me, but let me at least share. So what if you could create a powerful new identity to serve you to the next level and discover how to step into your new identity, unleash yourself to achieve more freedom and a greater legacy than ever before. If I shared with you guys anything that's created now, I mean, I've sold 2 companies in the last 5 years, I have an amazing relationship. We have children, we have investments, we have all kinds of stuff. We live a vacation style life. People, and it's because we invested in our identity. Here's what we got coming up. A whole bunch of you here are coming. If you're coming, type in boom. Those of you that are interested, let me share it with you. March 18th and 19th. It's a weekend. It's the highest level personal growth weekend you're going to go through. It is going to be incredible. Boom. We're going to shift identities. It's going to be a game changer. And I hope couples will come. But if you're not a couple, you come alone so you could change it for your future. We're going to have experts there. We'll definitely overcome your old programming and the old stories. You'll find out how to, that's why it's called Change the Channel, and create a powerful new identity and leave with a step-by-step. Everyone's going to have their own blueprint. I love going to trainings. I hate leaving without a blueprint. I think that's what's broken in a lot of trainings. They give you information without direction. Okay. Here's what we're going to go through, everybody. And I know those that are coming, like Danny and Mike and Matt, you guys are pumped for this, right? We're going to do the magnifying glass method. We'll pull back the curtain. We'll reveal your hidden stories. We're going to look at it. Some of you are like, it's going to be scared. You're not going to scare us. We're going to help you. The resistance eliminator system. We're going to eliminate challenges and obstacles that have been preventing you from moving forward. The vision creation process. We're going to discover how to create a vision that you no longer fear. You step right into it. The identity makeover accelerator. Oh, yeah. We're going to build a new identity for you. You'll leave with your transformation blueprint, and we will give you mind power super fuel. We'll do a pre-session before you come out because you're going to have to prepare your family, your kids, your relationship. What's coming back after this training? Everything's going to change. We have incredible speakers. We got Kevin Harrington. I am going to drill him with questions about how to think, his relationships, how he's built and think through process things. Mike Michalowicz. Did you ever see Mike Michalowicz speak? Type in Mike. He's amazing. We got Mark Evans speaking. We got Kevin Axtell coming, and he's going to MC the whole event. Here's what you're going to get. Now, we built this. You could use it for an individual. You could come with someone else, but we built a nice couples VIP experience. You're going to get the training. You're going to make connections. You'll learn implementation. You'll have major transformation. If you're excited, type in excited. And check this out. When you sign up today, you're also going to get bonuses. We're going to do a pre-event training. Because if you thought this is fast paced, oh shit, when you're in a room with us, I got to get you ready. You got to do a little bit of training to show up in the room, right? We want to warm you up. This experience, we got lunches coming in. So you're going to get VIP lunches. It's going to be incredible. Some of you might have an interest in a little higher level of VIP. You just ask our team, but we have a special VIP couples experience here. And you're going to get the One Life training. We did One Life 2 nights a week for 3 weeks. You're going to want to do that with your relationship. If anybody did One Life training on here, type in One Life and tell them what it's like. Here's a little summary of this. I will share. We've never had an experience at this price point ever. You'll get the total immersion training with the speakers, myself, my wife, my son, Kevin Harrington. You'll get connection with other growth-minded people. If you're a unicorn, who considers themselves a unicorn? Type in unicorn. Type in unicorn. This is where unicorns come and play and grow together, just so you know. Okay? Implementation with a workbook and action plan, total transformation. If at the end of day 1, you hate it, you don't like it, you didn't think it was valuable, hand in your workbook, we'll give you all your investment back. No hard feelings at all. Plus, when you sign up today, you'll also get the pre-event, the lunches, the One Life training, and the extra ticket. So you could come as a couple, you could bring, now look, one of the things my wife and I, and I'm not sharing it for you to do it, we've sent people to these trainings. So I'm glad that you're going to come as a couple, bring another couple. I learned that people, they invest and help people all over the world. That's great. Help your inner world. It's $864. That's it. $864. We do have to raise the prices next week, just so you know. The regular price was $1728. We've never done a training at $864 for two people. Our normal trainings are like $6,500, $10,000. This One Life training here that you're getting, that was a $10,000 training. We're doing it because we want to give everybody the opportunity to grow. You'll get to see my wife and I in person on stage, the whole team, Aaron, my son. It's going to be amazing, everybody. Amazing. They'll put the link in the chat bar. It's real simple. Just go right here to fooddoggroup.com, VIP to take advantage of the special. Go there today. I know we have seats left, but I know we will be sold out in the next week or so. So if you are coming, it's better to get it before it's sold out. It's right in New Jersey. There's hotels closed. It's in a big room. This is the room we're going to be in. This is it. The room doesn't get any bigger than this. That's the size of the room. We can't make more room. Once we fill it up, that's all she wrote. That's all she wrote. Okay. All right. Here's a couple case studies. I think Jason and Jennifer might be on here. Boom. That's them. They could tell you what they think about being in our world. I don't even have to tell you that. And let's go to bonus number 6 here. Bonus key number 6. Wants and needs. If there's an exercise I tell people to go through in a relationship, is you fill out wants and needs. Your relationship fills out wants and needs. This is a great way to create clarity on it, right? Like one person says, like, I want to golf every single day. That's a want. But the need is I need to spend quality time maybe with the relationship, or I need, I want to golf sometimes, right? There's needs and there's wants. Now, if one person has a need that's not being met and they don't communicate it, they're going to be in resentment. What do you want to share about wants and needs?
Well, we really go into depth in this with Freedom Tribe, and this is just the tip of the iceberg with it. Understanding what a want is versus what a need is, and being clear on it. A lot of times people think their want is a need, and it's not. It's what you want. It's not what you actually need. So it's really getting clear on what these look like and communicating them. Everything goes right back to communication and knowing it for each other and communicating it back to each other.
Yeah, I think this other one's good. Like, I want to eat lunch as a couple every single day, right? But I need, let's plan out dinners together. And you have to do it separately. You fill out your wants and needs. They fill out your wants and needs, right? Maybe I want to have a mansion or a castle on top of a hill, but I need to make sure we have a home that is safe, right? As everybody type in wants and needs, if everybody understands this exercise, this really will change the paradigm of things for you guys. Okay. Yep. All right. Perfect. Let's keep cranking. I want to try to get to a little time for you guys to rifle some questions at us too. You always have great stuff to say about this. So this is about
I love this.
overwhelm and that's my phone. Overwhelm and chaos. Instead of seeing overwhelming chaos as happening to you, see it as happening around you while the two of you stand strong together. And I think that, why don't you talk about that a little bit?
What am I talking about?
When chaos is happening.
Oh, well, first of all, wanting less chaos is going to give you more chaos, because every time chaos comes, they are lessons. So the more we try to push it away, the more the universe is just going to keep on bringing us more and more chaos, and till we learn the lessons. And what it really truly comes down to is, like you're saying, like around us, allow the chaos in, assess it, don't let it overwhelm you. So often we're so overwhelmed with things, with the chaos that comes in.
Yeah.
And I realized the more I tried not to have it, the more I was getting. So when I learned how to pretty much dance with it, take it in,
Mm,
communicate with him when it was coming in, come up with strategies, and not go right into the emotion and the reaction.
yeah.
And I used to be very reactive first. And now I'm not as reactive as I used to be. I'm not 100% non-reactive. However, there's a major shift in that,
Yeah.
don't you think?
Yeah. I think this is a big reality of me. It falls in life, it falls in business, falls in relationship. Every time you solve a problem, you create a new problem, just so you know. Like if you solve a problem, hey, we wanted to have kids, and then you have kids, you now have a new problem. You have to take care of the kids. You got to keep them safe. And then you want the kids to be safe as they're young, but then they grow up and then there's a new problem. Then maybe they want to go to school or they want to move out, right? And I think people try so hard to remove chaos. And really, every time you solve the chaos, it creates a new chaos. Like, don't avoid it. This picture is a great picture of it.
Yeah, it's gonna come no matter what. It's you don't have control over what's gonna come in, but you have control how you're gonna react.
Yeah.
And that's really, we don't have control of many things, but we have control of our reaction and how we're gonna address it, and having a strong partner, or knowing that when chaos comes in a relationship or from the outside world, how you're both gonna deal with it.
Yeah. And
It's gonna be there.
There has to be times as a couple where you guys, if you're in a couple, that you could step back together and just look at the chaos and just laugh and go, this is okay.
Or be the one that grabs it and says, well, we had a lot of humor to our life.
Yeah, a
a lot of humor, and that gets us through a lot. And
yeah, like if we have like real chaos and she's like getting in that, like she's just a little wild, then it would be like, I don't know, my ass might hang out or something. I don't know. I will do anything to break the state. You know what I mean? Don't judge me for it unless you do it yourself. But, you know, I think the point is, if you let the chaos, it is proven that stress will destroy the mind and the body. And if you just imagined, and you guys tell me in the chat bar, if every disagreement and argument and fight you had, if you knew it was literally poking a hole in you and you started to bleed, would you keep doing that to yourself? Well, maybe some of you're glutton for punishment, but I think if you just step back a minute and go, wait a second, let's just take a deep breath here. What are we trying to say? Sometimes we used to argue about saying the same thing two different ways. I'm like, we're saying the same shit. It's like, oh, we are. We're just saying it different.
yeah.
And this is a good point to always share. Do you both have to end up agreeing in the end? No. You can agree to disagree. We don't always agree on everything. She's like,
Well, we agreed that we heard each other out,
that's the important part.
and we acknowledge that that's that for that person, but we don't agree on a lot of things. People think we agree on a lot of things. There's just as much we don't agree on sometimes.
Yeah. She's like,
And it's fine.
yeah, I don't
We're
agree.
still
You're
supportive.
gonna, whatever, do that thing. And I'm like, okay, I hear what you're saying. Now I'm going to go do that thing. Right. She's like, okay, I just don't agree. I'm like, that's okay. We don't have to agree here. Right. And I think if you guys, that's probably one of the needs, is to be able to agree to disagree.
And like you're saying, like, how does this impact growth and like towards your goals? So when we get chaos comes in, or these conversations come in and we're not agreeing, is it going to affect his individual goal, my individual goal, our goal as a family, our goal for the business? How are these things going to affect that? And if certain things aren't, really, like, why does time even have to be wasted on certain things, right?
Yeah. How many of you have relationship disagreements and it's just sucked a lot of time? Just type in time. Like you literally lost time. And time is so precious. Like if you knew you only had like 5 hours left, would you argue for 3 of them? Like you'd be like, Don't even talk. I don't even want to talk. Let's just spend, right? And I think that's happening to a lot of people. If you could start to say to yourself, like, wow, we're really go into solutions.
Yes.
The minute arguments or disagreements start, be like this. What is the solution? Like, how do we move forward?
Or what is
right?
the end result you're looking for?
Yeah, I don't think it's coming up. Oh, let's go here. But I think there's the clean slate conversation that we should have. Just so you guys know, here is a nice worksheet that you can use. I'm going to go through it quick because I want to leave some time, but I want to talk about clean slate. Okay, so don't let me forget everybody, clean slate. This worksheet, you could take a snapshot of it, or we could get you a copy of it. It's like number one is like, how do you feel about your relationship? Like, how do you really feel? Are you happy? Are you confused? Is it stale? Is it not exciting? And then the other thing is like, if you were to rank it, like we did in the beginning, like,
or is it amazing? And how can it be even more amazing? Because there's always another level.
Yep. And then how would you rank it? And why did you rank that number? Right? Like, hey, we're a 7. I'll tell you what, the taboo thing there, I do believe the things they say, relationships get destroyed and argued about, like money is a key one. I hear that
Never
all the time.
thought about money ever.
No, I always made a lot of money.
But we've never, but I always felt secure in knowing like how driven you were and that you would provide, and like there was no question there. There were certain trusts that were always there on
Children. Children is another.
We've had discussions about.
We've had some
children.
discussions about children. Sex.
We've had discussions about
Sex is another one that causes a lot of discussions and a lot of resentment. It's really, there's like a top 5. There's a extended family, like mother-in-law, mom, dad, that causes a lot of it. And then past experiences,
past relationships, like if someone was cheated on or the insecurities from past relationships, just bringing that baggage to the next relationship.
You see, number 3, decide to change. You have to be willing to have a clean slate, everybody.
Yes.
Like, if the relationship is so rocky, I would consider, hey, let's draw a line, clean slate. Let's, and that team will answer for you, Matt. We'll get this right. So a clean slate is like, look, let's define our future going forward. And do we both like the way that looks? Get rid of everything from yesterday on or minutes ago on. There's no need to bring up the fling you had 20 years ago, the fight you had, the disagreement you had, the bad decision you made. Like, that's only torture for the future.
And that's what the majority push for, is focusing on all of the hurts, the pains, the this, the that, all the crap that got you to where you are.
Yeah.
And we're not against therapists. We recommend certain therapists to people, but a lot keep you in that rather than helping you move forward. Yeah. And when we were ready for a divorce, we literally left saying, that's back there. Yeah. What do we want moving forward? Too often, everybody wants to keep rehashing all you said this, you did that. What if you do this again? There was none of that with us. Yeah. It was, where are we going? How are we getting there? And all of that. I know so many people that don't, and they keep bringing it up. If we bring up anything from back then, it's actually in a humorous way. We joke about it.
I do got to share something. The last 10 years of working with people, and I've yet to hear, and I'm sure there's a good one, everyone. I have yet to hear a good marriage counseling success story in over a decade.
We could share our marriage counselor before
that
we
wasn't
went and
helpful
figured it out, told me, because a lot of marriage counselors sees each person separately and then sees you together. Well, in our separate conversation, our therapist told me that it was my duty as a woman to get my tubes tied, instead of my husband getting a vasectomy, because if my husband got a vasectomy, he would go out there and screw every woman on the planet and not have a care. That it was my responsibility as a woman to take care of it on my end and not his. And this was a very well
Yeah.
recommended marriage counselor. And then we have people, and over the years, we've heard things that people come to us and they've been in counseling or are currently in counseling.
Just last couple
And
of
listen,
weeks.
we're not again, we have people we recommend to people. They're not all, but if they don't go above and beyond what their basic skills are taught in school,
Yeah.
they're just gonna keep pounding that shit in your brains over and over and over, and people are not gonna expand and grow and move on.
We don't have a marriage one to refer.
No,
I've yet to find one. So, all right, let's keep going here. Number 5, commit to change. Oh, number 4, sorry. Let's go back here. Number 4,
that's a good.
and actually, let's work through some of this right now. If there was something in your relationship you should start doing, type it in the chat bar. What's something you should start doing in your relationship today? Have a conversation about communication. Is it, talk about personal growth together? How are you going to grow together? Is it about wants and needs? Give me something in the chat bar so I know you're with me here. Personal growth. Yep. What else? What else do some of you want to start doing? Goal alignment. Very nice. Okay. And then what's something individually you should stop doing? What should you stop doing? Like, I'm going to stop bitching, stop complaining. Like, if you're talking with your friends about your husband and wife and not talking to them, that's horrible. I would just tell you, you're solving nothing. You're just creating drama inside your energetic field. Do not talk about others about your relationship unless you're talking to that relationship.
Yes.
It's more detrimental than it is beneficial.
Unless you're looking for insight on how to help it, I will tell you, most people who are struggling themselves or have their own stuff they don't speak about.
Yeah.
Not enjoy, but they kind of live for that.
Yeah, they live
you
for
know
the
who
pain.
they are. I'm sure all of you have somebody like that in your life.
Yeah. And then what are you going to keep doing in your relationship? What are you going to keep doing? Just write sex in the chat bar. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. And then number 5, you got to make a commitment to change. You got to make a commitment like you're in the game. I'm constantly, when I have talks or my son's having talks with men, we're like, you know what? I hear what you're saying, but at what point are you going to step up? At what point are you going to step forward? At what point are you going to lead by example? And I think I'm only going to talk to the men here. Men, you got to get fucking bulletproof already, right? I think men aren't bulletproof. They allow their little things to affect their emotion. Oh, my wife, bam, 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 bam. It's like, you know what? Just step up, step forward, and let them know how committed you are. If you're not committed to the crazy, I got news for you. Whatever you think you didn't solve in one relationship, you're probably going to have to solve in the next one, right? You're going to have to solve in the next one. And the last one, commit to grow together. Commit to grow together. If my wife knew about growing together, 25 years ago, we would be 1,000 times where we are today. And we're doing really good, but we would be way even beyond that because we lost a decade of not committing in personal growth together because I was so spending time on business and marketing and sales, and I didn't see the destruction that was doing. All right. Sherry was on here before. They could talk to you. I think this is just a cool little thing. These guys are a dynamic couple. Jason and Jennifer, we got a lot of dynamic couples in our world, in the food dog world. Like just them getting aligned together, they were able to create $1 million outside of their business. So I still love that story. Here's the link. If any of you want to take advantage and come as a couple or an individual, we'll have both at the event. It's in New Jersey. It's 2 days. If for some reason you're not a couple and you only want to come alone, private message. Aaron, give them a link to private message us. We'll have an offer just for you if you're an individual. If you're like, hey, I'm going to come alone, focus alone, we got a special for just one. Or come with a friend, come with a buddy, bring an employee, bring your child. My son's been going to training since he's 8 years old, and it's, now at 23, he's already one of the top mind and accountability coaches out there today, and he's 23 because of we invested. I'd most likely be coming alone. No problem. Denise, send us a message. Aaron will get you. We have a special for you. You don't have to pay the $800 and something, and we'd love to have you, and we'll get you a line. We'll get your life moving forward. You'll get all the benefits and incentives here. We'll be excited to have you. Okay, so why don't we do this? You guys been with us a while. Type in value if you got value here. We'd love to have all of you come in March and spend time with us together with all these amazing speakers. Anybody that's been in a room with an event, man, this is going to be a wild experience. And if you guys have questions, why don't you throw a question at us? If you want to ask anything, feel free to raise your hand and we could unmute you, or feel free to type it in the chat bar if you want. And yeah, we'll get you in there. I hope somebody has some question for us. Come on. Okay, we got a hand up. All right, Danny, my man, see if you can unmute yourself. Let's do it.
All right, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, gotcha.
Okay, beautiful. Hey, great conversation today, Mike. Took a ton out of it. I'm wondering how to deal when times are just, man, you feel like you're in a vacuum and there's just so much coming at you. What are some strategies to come home and just be home? I've tried a ton of things and I'm looking for some ideas and strategies to be more present when I'm here, be more present when I'm at home.
Yeah, it's awesome. Things are not coming at you, they're coming to you. That's the first thing to understand. They're not coming at you. Look at the language we use, like the world, like things like it's like spikes being thrown at us. No, things are coming to you, and those things are coming to you to evaluate your own skill. This is only my belief. When the universe feels that you have the skills to deal with that, the universe will give you more. When the universe feels you don't have the skills to navigate, then the universe wants to keep testing you on those skills, right? Wow. So just step back and ask yourself, like, hang on a minute. I always tell people, like, if you didn't deal with this tonight, like, is the world going to end? Is it going to really end? Because there's a point of refuel and there's a point of fatigue. And when you hit a point of fatigue, you can't process. So you have to have a process. Like, I used to make sure when I pulled up at home and I turned that doorknob, anything that's going to bring chaos, stress, negative energy, hurt, hateful, anger, it would have to fall right outside. I could pick it up in the morning when I go back out, but it's got to fall outside. And then I used to tell people, then I would come in and hug my son and my daughter. And when they were little, chase them around and play with them because I was there for them. Now, if you imagine that everything that is baggage for you, everything that's haunting you, everything that feels painful for you, would you ever take it in a cup like this, Danny? Would I be like, this is a cup full of all the shit in my life? Would you walk inside your house and tell your kids, could you take a drink of the shit? Would you bathe them in the shit? Would you tell your wife, here, drink this. Here, Maddie, drink this cup full of shit from my day. You would never do that. So don't bring it home. Write down your list of what you have to tackle. Now, remember, everything you want to solve is just a good question away. It's just a good question away, right? Hey, I'm dealing with this problem. Who do I have to ask that question to? Who could help me with that question? And then with the answer, if you feel it's the right answer, it's just execute quickly. That's all it is. And I think, again, I can only talk to men on this perspective. My wife could share women, but since you're asking, you have to have that. I don't think enough people have that inner Hulk inside of them. I think that they've been carrying the weight of the world and they're not just muscling up. They're not just like, here I am. You have to have that point. I always say, but if you're a vegetarian, then put eggplant in the place of steak, but you got to be at the point, you got to grab red meat and like, you got to eat that thing and go, I will solve this fucking problem right now. I will be the person who solves it. You're either a victim or a victor. And I'm watching a whole lot of fucking victims in this world. There is no lack of money in this world. None. There's no lack of people in this world. There's a lack of people wanting to step into space and go, like, arrow, snap the fucking arrow, stab the enemy. Like, there's not enough arrows to take you down unless you let it take you down. You had a second part to that, and then we'll go over to Ariella.
Yes, your take on, sometimes I work from home, so it kind of stays here, and I do have an office space. You recommend just working out of the office space to kind of disconnect. I mean, that's one of the things about working from home.
I think both.
There's no door to turn it off.
There's an environment, you can't turn it off, but you can share healthy boundaries. Like, I did stuff at home and I did stuff at an office. And even when my kids were both home with us, I shared with my kids. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be doing a training tonight. Like, we got to make sure we dial down noise. We got to make sure this is what I do. And my son has sat in boardrooms with me when he was 10 years old in front of 15 people in a boardroom where I'm talking about, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I would say, hey, Michael, like, you're going to sit here, do me a favor. And he'd have a notepad. I would say, just observe. That's what would be helpful for me. And when they all leave, I want to know what you observed for me. And then he was young and he would tell me you should fire all of them and stuff. He said, just fire them all. And then I would ask him questions. Why? He's look, well, that guy wasn't honest and da-da-da. And I go, oh, that's interesting. And then like, I would ask questions of him. So I think when you try to avoid family coming in versus including them, when you include them, they're going to grow up like my son. He's had his own business since he's 17. He'd authored his own book when he was 17. Why? Because I didn't exclude him. Sometimes I had to say, hey, daddy's doing something right now. I need focus. And what I hope that did for him was say, oh, there's times that he needs to. You want to shut that door real quick?
Here we go.
All right, Danny, did that make sense?
Yes.
You have to mute your
Super.
things.
Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate you so much. I can't wait to
Great.
see
We're
you
now
guys.
on volume. We're on the other, on hers now. So, okay. All right, Ariella, hit so she can unmute.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mike and Jennifer and Michael. Thank you for tonight. It has been so fun and insightful. I took so many notes and lots of takeaways. Something that I think is going to change the way that I think about things is the way of seeing chaos. It's not happening to me, it's happening around me. Now, how do you implement that? Because so ever since we started with you guys, which I don't know if it's been quite a year yet, our mindset has completely changed. Justin is a beast, amazing, kind, awesome man, and just whole other level. And our normal used to be, so we do remodeling, maybe doing like $80,000 jobs. So we'd be like, wow, we have an $80,000 project. Our new normal is every month he's selling a couple $200,000 projects or more. So it's our new normal. But what I'm seeing is that I'm taking the mindset that I used to have when we were managing 30 projects that were 80 or whatever different rate they were. And the overwhelmed feeling that I'm not doing this well enough, I'm not doing it fast enough, I'm not leveling up fast enough. And then even though I have the capacity, we still do it. Now I'm taking that same mindset to the bigger projects. And I'm like, I'm not doing this well enough, I'm not going fast enough. And I don't know how to shake that because we're living some of the dream projects, and we're even going to go eventually do $400,000, $500,000 projects. And I'm like, I don't want to take that mindset to those projects.
Yeah. So this is really great. And the thing to think about here is, one, your identity is getting ready to shift again, right? You had the identity of $80,000 projects, and that's how your relationship was. Now your identity moved $100,000 projects, your relationship is closer. Well, you're coming to change the channel, you'll shift again, and then you'll shift again. The delusion I think that people have, and I thought I probably had it too a while ago. And guys, we'll be finishing up with one more question and then we'll be letting you guys go. But the delusion is I learned how to improve. And so I guess I'm done improving. Now, I've been learning and improving for over 30 years now. I've been investing in martial arts, personal growth, expansion, business growth, and everything. I mean, in the last 18 years, it's been over $3 million. Why? I mean, look, my wife, myself, my son, Aaron, we've invested 200,000 in our own growth last year. We'll do another 200,000 this year. Why? Because the minute you think you're done expanding and you have all the answers, you'll start dying. So you're at a great place. You're realizing, man, I'm getting so much growth. I need to grow more. And you're only a couple weeks away from that. When you're at Change the Channel and you're at Freedom Tribe Day, like, boom, it's going to snap next level. So can you just hang on for a couple more weeks?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got you covered.
Mike and then.
Welcome. What was the other
Mike
one?
and Annette asked
If
if
you-
you get upset, how do you resolve?
Okay. Upset. Just so you guys know, when people get upset, you're not getting upset. You're referencing a time in your past. You're referencing a program. So it's like, oh, I'm upset.
Trigger.
Well, wait a minute. Why are you upset? Well, the person said this to me in this way. Oh, okay. And your mom also talked to you that way. Well, yeah. How'd you know? Because it's a trigger. You have a program. You're not upset. You launched the program that's upsetting you. And you're seeing like, oh, well, last time we argued for 4 weeks. So I'm triggered. So how do you avoid this like upset thing? Just take a breath and ask yourself, what's really bothering me here? What's my fear? What's my concern? And then you can say, you know what? I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling frustrated. Now, my son is going to do a training, not public, it's for a group. He's going to do a training on one of the highest level communications to deal with this, where you could say, hey, this is how I'm feeling. And I think especially guys, we're not good at
It's Thursday.
Thursday. We're not good at sharing how we're feeling. And really we have to like, hey, I'm frustrated, or I'm pretty mad, or I'm pretty feeling disgusted right now. I'm feeling upset. So we have to bring them forward. All right. What was the next one?
How do you keep it from getting to disrespect?
How do you keep from disrespect? Again, what is disrespect? Well, I guess being hit, beat, verbally abused could be looked at as disrespect. Healthy boundaries. Hey, let's create communication guidelines. What would fit in communication? What would not? I told someone the other day, I said, if you talk to me that way in a grocery store and I didn't know you, always look at it that way. If you went to a stranger and talked to them the way you did, what would their reaction be? They'd knock you out. Okay, well, it's probably not great communication with your wife or husband. But you get comfortable over decades. So you feel like you could say, stop the bullshit, fuck off, and this stuff. I'm not saying it's okay or not okay. I'm saying you got to have an agreement on communication guidelines. When I had two other business partners, three of us, we had to have a safe word. It was bamboo, just a weird word. And the safe word would come out at the moment that three of us as partners, we're going to kill each other. And one time coffee went flying. My other two partners were going to fist fight. I had to kick one out of the way, shove one to the side. It was a big mess. And then we had to create bamboo after that, the safe word, because of those situations. Maybe you need a safe word where it's like, hey, bamboo, that means no more words, no more actions. You immediately just separate and you come back another time after you do it. The other thing is, I shared this with someone the other day. They said, what do you do when someone's really disrespectful? Like they say something like nasty. You simply just say, hey, based on what you said, how did you want me to feel about that? What reaction did you want from me? And all of a sudden the person goes, well, I didn't want to upset you. It's like, hey, how did you want me to feel? You just told me I'm a piece of shit. How do you want me to feel? And what would you expect me to do? Because believe it or not, the human behavior, I bet all of you in a relationship, you know exactly how to piss the other person off. If that's true, type in true, don't you? Oh, you know exactly what button, boop, to push, right? And no pushing them buttons, that doesn't help anybody, pushing the buttons. But you also get to say, hang on, are you trying to push my button? Because I got a different button for you to push. right? That's probably the inappropriate side that comes out of me. I'm like, oh, I got something. You want to
But
push a
that's-
button?
Diffuses.
Yeah, I got a different button you could push, but you're not pushing that button today. We're not going there. Like, I love you. I love you. I hate you. I'm going to slam the door. I love you and the door. We'll fix the door and I'll still love you, right? So you have to be able to get into that place. Okay. Was there any last questions? Did I answer them all for everybody? If I answered them all, give me a big old boom in the chat bar. If this was helpful, maybe we'll consider a 2.0 and we'll go deeper into questions. Otherwise, thanks for hanging. I hope some of you will come and join us at Change the Channel. My wife and I will be speaking on stage, a whole team. It will be an amazing experience for you guys. Your life will transform. If you're interested, the link, just go right there. Boom, we're out. I'll play a little song on the way out for you. I had a blast with you guys. Bye.
Nice seeing you, Don.